One of the things about acquired brain injury, it throws up so many emotions. Unfortunately, there are more negative emotions than positive ones. There's around anger, sadness, loss, grief, guilt, shame, frustration, irritation, being pissed off. Huge amount of emotions are going on here, and negative emotions. And I suppose in this insight, I want to really try and ask you, maybe I want to talk about a practical tool that we can use now around managing these emotions. And one of the things around emotions is what drives our emotions. So you might say the situation drives the emotions. Your loved one with acquired brain injury drives your emotions. But actually what's happening in between your feeling and that situation that we acknowledge is your thoughts. And your thoughts you're driving your emotion. The lens we wear in the world drives our emotions. Some people wear a lens in the world where they see negativity in the past, the present and the future. And when we wear a negative frame, it can impact on our having sadness and depression. When people wear a frame where they're looking at worry all the time, and fear, as if fear is the emotion, quite often they're scanning for things that can go wrong. For other people who experience a lot of anger in their life, the frame, the way they look at the world is about unfairness. Why did this happen to me? It's unfair. And it is unfair. I accept it's unfair. But if you're continually scanning for that unfairness, you're just going to drive a lot of that anger. So these are negative emotions created by our thoughts. And I suppose that gives us an insight then how we might change. One of the things when it comes to managing stress, we'd often say change the situation. But in this situation, you might be able to change that situation. I accept that. But we can change how we think about the situation. And then we might increase our coping mechanisms. So how do we change how we think about a situation? When we have these strong emotions and strong thoughts, what would I say to my best friend? Because quite often we're really good at giving our best friend advice. We might say, oh, you know, when you're feeling angry or frustrated, you might say to your best friend, it's okay, I understand that. Step back out, take a deep breath. And we're very good at giving our, but when it comes to ourselves, we start beating ourselves up. So one of the really practical things I want you to do straight away is, if you have a strong emotion and it's a negative emotion, I want you to, what advice would I give my friend if they were thinking this and feeling this? Because believe me, you'll give your friend better advice than yourself. And when it comes to increasing your coping, like what are you doing around self-care? Are you doing the self-care moments are we talking about? Are you walking it out? Are you talking it out? Are you listening to music? Are you doing some mindfulness? Are you mobilizing supports? Have you crunch points that you need to get support in at particular points in time? What is it that you can do to help assist you in coping? So managing negative emotions. Imagine emotions are toxic, because like negative emotions like toxic stress. And you can come in and look at our stress insights, and we'll be talking about them. But so we've lots of different tools. You can chop and change, look where you want. But one of the key ways is changing how we think can change the power and the intensity of negative emotions. And by asking yourself, what would I say to my best friend if I had this thought? Is there anything I can do in this situation? Will it look like this situation in a year's time? Will it look the same? Will it look different? Is there another way I can think about this? So there's trying to bring those questions can start shifting the way we feel about negative emotions. To give a sense of a practical example, like you might feel angry or frustrated or irritable. That's a feeling, okay? Feelings can be described in one word, and what drives our feeling are our thoughts. And thoughts are like sentences. So those thoughts that can be driving those feelings is, why me? Why does this bloody happen to me? Why am I doing this caring? I want to be out working, I want to be out have fun. I want to go travel and not have to bring additional resources with me. Why is he stuck in the house? And they're the thoughts that drive the feeling. And if you can understand those thoughts, I'm asking you to find those thoughts and challenge them in a gentle way and saying, what would I say to my best friend if they had them thoughts? I'd say, I understand you're frustrated. I understand that it's not fair. But I also know that you need to step back. I also know you need to take a deep breath. I also know that you can't pour from an empty cup. I also know that that it's okay. It doesn't have to be done in such a rush. So in a way, that's the advice. The advice you give your best friend is more compassionate, more caring than what you'd say to yourself, where you beat yourself up. And that's by switching that, you'll depower the intensity of those negative feelings.